Hi everybody, it's New Jersey Garden, Zone 6A. I am doing a video today showing you little bits of the garden, and I'll show you what's in bloom right now rather than doing a full garden tour. I'll do a garden tour probably in the next 2 weeks when more things are in bloom. We're actually putting down mulch right now. It's a really big job. I did some edging as well, so we're trying to add some mulch to the garden beds. It's been about 6 or 7 years since we mulched, and it really needed mulch. There were a lot of weeds coming through on top of the fabric. I had put some weed barrier down, and they were all these weeds were coming up on top of there, and it was just getting worn down. So we've got some hardwood mulch, and we're just applying it to the garden beds. This little side garden bed here just has some peonies coming up. Just starting to bloom now. Here are some beautiful peonies that started opening up. I have a few different varieties of peonies. The ones here on the end of this garden bed are great because they don't flop. They are an upright variety. However, there's no scent to these, and a lot of peonies do have a beautiful scent, so the trade-off with this one is that they're really upright, they don't flop over, but there's no scent. They're a really bright color pink, and they seem to be the first of my peonies to open up. I have Sarah Bernhardt peonies. You can see one, it's a light pink, and that will be opening up soon. I have a lot of peonies in the front bed, and I'll do a peony tour in the next few days to show you everything that's in bloom. We had a lot of rain over the last month, and we had rain last night, and so a lot of the peony blooms fell apart. But we'll have a lot more coming up. And then on the ground here are little ferny looking plants. Those are called California poppies, and they'll be blooming in the next week or so. And then down here I had a little bit of loss over the winter. This pink flower here is perennial phlox. It's called a creeping phlox, and it's really been blooming quite a long time. I would say at least it blooms for probably about 8 or 9 weeks every spring. So it's a long blooming perennial. But I had patches here that died on me over the winter, and actually in another couple garden beds I had some flowers die on me this winter. I don't know if it was because it was especially cold or just, you know, over time perennials just die sometimes. So and then right here there's a poppy that is right in front of this peony, and that will be blooming soon too. So I'll just show you clips of different garden beds today, and I'll show you how the vegetables are doing as well. So this is the little vegetable planter that I started this year, and there's just 2 tomato plants in here. There's some cucumbers growing along the back, and those were grown from seed. Then there's some baby bok choy growing in the front there. That was also grown from seed. And then I have 3 Swiss chard plants that were purchased, as well as the tomatoes. So everything looks like it's growing pretty well so far. There's also some lettuce that I bought, and really this should be probably 1 lettuce bunch in one pot, but I threw 3 of them into 1 pot. And then down here are some baby bok choy that need to get transplanted. Down here I just want to show you, this is forget-me-not. It's a very beautiful spring flower, and it's right in the corner here of this shed that we have, and I didn't have a lot of it growing this year. What happens is after it dies, it forms like a kind of a dried out looking clump, and sometimes it gets so dried up looking that I end up pulling it up. So I'll try to save some seeds this year to plant next year, or maybe I'll plant them in the fall to have flowers for next spring. They're very, very beautiful.
Doing a video outside?
There was a flower here that I had grown years ago that I had pulled because it was just spreading everywhere. It's a perennial herb, and it's a hyssop. It's either called lavender hyssop or anise hyssop, and it really attracts the bumblebees to the garden, so I'm growing it again. And then I have a lot of daylilies that haven't bloomed yet, but in front of this daylily here I have something that just started blooming last week. It's called mouse ear coreopsis, and most of the flowers in my garden, I would say about 70% of them, I have grown from seed or bulbs, but this particular perennial I purchased, and it's a really nice spring blooming perennial. I have a beautiful yellow flowering perennial called Basket of Gold Alyssum, and I've done a couple videos on this. It just started going to seed, and this was in bloom for about 5 weeks. And right in front of it I have a lady's mantle, and sometimes perennials will just die out in the middle. This could just be from winter, just from a harsh winter, or just sometimes perennials will make a circle leaving the middle part bare, and that just means you need to divide the perennial. It just means it's just time to divide. So I'm going to divide up this lady's mantle because it's just kind of making a circle. This perennial here is beautiful. It's called soapwart, and I had a lot of it at the mailbox, and our mailbox was redone last winter, so that particular bunch of soapwort is no longer there, but this is a nice big bunch of soapwort, and it's very beautiful. It does not have a scent, but it's just lovely. My poppies started coming into bloom. These are the Princess Victoria Louise poppies. They're a salmon pink color with black in the center. And the blooms don't last all that long. And the red ones are just oriental poppies. Poppies will live a really long time. They're a perennial. And then when the petals fall off, it makes this neat little seed pod right here. Now sometimes the base of my poppies gets a little brown or yellow, and this year I lost a poppy. It just got all brown and died on me, so I'm not really sure what causes any of the browning. But in general, my poppies are pretty hardy plants. The blooms don't last a whole long time, so that's why I'm doing this video, because I'm worried we'll have more rain, and I really want to make sure you guys see how pretty they are. Again, these peach ones are the Princess Victoria Louise. Thank you so much for watching and for subscribing. Have a great day.